Yeah, I had several difficulties before finding Connor. Probably one of the main ones was reliability. You know, there's a lot of information out there, and if you have no experience, how do I know if it's right or not?
Every time I went online, there were different options, different people teaching different ways, and that kind of confused me. And I also needed something that kept me dedicated and continuing to take the lesson.
I tried to teach myself just using books, just kind of going online. But I would always just get too frustrated and just give up.
My early hang-ups when I first started guitar were knowing where to start. I had no idea what to start with, whether I should learn scales, or whether I should practice on my strumming, or whether I should callus my fingers. There was too much noise online, there were too many choices, there wasn't a clear path of learning, and these lessons kind of streamlined it for me, made it quite a bit easier.
I was looking at a screen and not like sitting with a person who could help me.
What I like most about the structure of Connor's lesson was that it's really all-encompassing. You know, he takes you from really not knowing anything at the beginning of the lesson to having all the building blocks to being able to kind of strum along with that song by the end of the lesson.
Having Connor really strum along and actually play along with what actually happens in the song makes a really big difference. One of the great things I love about Connor's lessons and the tabs and notes he actually gives you is it actually works. It's not like the stuff on the internet where you try to play along and you can't follow it.
I liked his easy to learn approach and focusing on what I want to get out of the lesson as opposed to following a set of structures from other methods that may not be how I like to learn. And I also liked how it was commitment. I found that taking the lessons every week, I was able to stay on schedule and keep practicing. It gave me that something to work towards.
I thought it really came through in the lessons how much experience Connor has teaching. He picked up on a lot of the tiny problems that beginners often have, and he brings them up out front and kind of anticipates any sort of problems you're going to have.
I saw a difference almost right away because I was immediately called out for having these bad habits. So you sort of, over time, start to see these more significant improvements because you're putting in the time and you're putting in the lessons and putting in the practice.
Overall, I think that, I would summarize Connor's lessons as rewarding. Being able to see yourself go from really not having any musical talent to kind of being able to play half a dozen or a dozen songs now.
I would recommend a variety of students to Connor, regardless of their current musical knowledge or whether they don't have any at all, because he has a good grasp of seeing what people know already and accommodating for that.
It's funny, like I have friends who I play with who I think are incredible guitarists, and they talk about the value of lessons. Some friends who are excellent guitarists who I would never think would want to take a lesson or see value in that. I think as long as your teacher is of a level where he can always help you, he or she, then there's always a value in it. Like you can be a total beginner, or you can be like me, who's sort of middle of the road, pretty good, could always stand to be better. But there's people who are like amazing, talented guitarists, and there's always going to be things for them to learn, and I think new techniques to gain and ways to sharpen up.